One of my favorite things about the Despicable Me and Minions movies is just how much villains existing is a part of the world. There are just super villains everywhere. And in thinking about how to rank a supervillain, of course, it's like, well, do you want to go like the most evil? Do you want to go the most powerful? But I think maybe the most interesting way to tackle ranking the villains would be, which one of them would I want to team up with the most? I mean, conquering the world is a big job, and sometimes it takes more than one person to do it. So that's how we're going to rank them today, the best Despicable Me villain to team up with. There's going to be some light spoilers for Despicable Me 4 in this video, as well as the rest of the series, so you have been warned. Let's go ahead and get started. We're starting down in that F tier, and these are people that I would not be caught dead wanting to team up with. First off, probably the most evil character in all of Despicable Me is going to be Miss Hattie. She's running this home for orphans, right? And she's putting kids in boxes and everything. Should have gone and burned that place to the ground. That's all I'm saying. Wingman, I feel a little more bad putting down here in F tier. He just seems kind of, I don't know, inept. I do like his outfit though, so I might have to talk to him about like where he got that. Mr. Perkins, I don't want to work with. Unfortunately, sometimes you do have to work with the bank, but it's never something I would choose to do, that's for sure. Just because this guy's running the Bank of Evil doesn't mean that he makes him pleasant to be around. Plus, how much this guy's crushing apples all the time, like the budget that we would have on wasted fruit alone, it's too much. Finishing up the F tier is going to be Mr. Spiky. This guy's just kind of like a background villain in the Minions movie, but to me, he's got to be this low because I can't even ride in a car with this guy. Can you imagine, like, it's the end of the heist, we're trying to get away, and we have to jump in some stolen car, and this guy just, like, he can't even get in. He's going to have to, like, stick himself to the roof. That's going to move us into the next tier, the D tier. This is where I'm going to put Scarlet Overkill. Now, I think that she's fantastic, great villain in the movie, especially going up against the Minions, but she's way too jealous, right? What does she tell the Minions to do in Minions, the first one? She says, hey, go and steal me the crown and everything, and that's what they do. But the way that they go about doing it is not the way she wanted them to do it. And then she gets mad and throws him in the dungeon. I don't want her to turn her back on me just because she's upset about how we accomplished the goal that we set out to do. Now, yes, she's an accomplished fighter. She's able to fight a ton of people at the villain con and everything. But, you know, again, just more reasons why I'm kind of scared of her. And I don't want to be scared of the person I'm having to work with, especially when they're rocking the kind of firepower that she's got. The remainder of D tier is going to be the Vicious Six. And that's just because you can't trust them. Again, they're turning on people. Wild Knuckles, man, was their founding member, and they turn on the guy. They kick him out. They drop him. They think they kill him. They cut the rope, and he like falls, and they think he's dead. I'm just like, guys, I'm not interested in being a part of that team if that's what I think could happen to me at any point. Bell Bottom is ranked the lowest because she's the new leader, so obviously she's the brains behind the coup. Nunchuck is going to be the next lowest because, again, I'm just kind of scared of her. Stronghold will be next. He's got big, like, metal hands and everything. It's not the most original gimmick, and I don't really see how it's going to be too helpful. Svengeance is awesome. Remember, this is the 70s, so it's not really a retro look for him. He's just like a cool roller derby guy with spikes and everything, and also, great name, Svengeance, fantastic. And then another great name rounding out the D tier is Jean-Claude. How come these fake French villains always have the best names? Jean-Claude, Bon Voyage. Guys, we need more French villains. Ubelschlecht, I think is how you say it. The principal, right from the school that Gru went to for villainy. I'm putting her in C tier because it depends on, like, if she wants to be on your team, right? If she's going to like help you out, like she is really all about helping Maxime because he was her favorite student, but like she's not necessarily that stoked on helping Gru. To be fair, Gru did help steal her pet and everything. She's got some good tech. She's got some like Dr. Octopus arms, a big scary wheelchair, but I don't know. She is a little bit old, so it kind of makes me feel a little more hesitant to want to team up with her. But don't worry, I'm not ageist because I'm also going to be hesitant to work with Poppy because she's also, on the other side of things, really young. She's smart, she's resourceful, but she doesn't have a ton of experience. She is loyal, which could be bad depending on who we're going up against. But, you know, in the course of Despicable Me 4, it's nice that she decides to help out Gru when she gets the chance. Glam Slammer is next up, and this guy is fantastic. He's just like a professional wrestler, pretty much. He's like doing wrestling moves and everything. I'm a fan of wrestling. I could be on board working with this guy. He doesn't really seem to have anything in particular to offer outside of enthusiasm, but you know what? I'm going to take that on the team. Professor Flex is going to be next up on the list, and this guy is kind of like a double-edged sword. For one, he's super smart, right? He's developed a time machine which lets him be able to kind of work with future versions of himself and everything, but he's pretty careless, right? This guy smashes his own head in on accident, which is like also surprisingly violent for a children's movie. The way that they just kind of like smash his head and it's like, oh, he's dead, we killed him, and then they disappear because of the paradox of them being him from the future, but he's dead, so he no longer exists in the future. I don't know. I think like if he's going to be that careless around himself, I don't know if I'm going to want to be around him when he's operating any kind of cool technology he might have put together for us to work with. El Macho would probably be higher than this on the list if it weren't for his son. I got a preteen daughter myself, and I don't want his kid coming around and trying to schmooze on anybody while we're trying to get work done. He's big and strong though, which is cool. Also seems to be pretty smart, stealing like chemicals and everything. Plus, guy seems to be a great cook, so I'm all about that. And then finishing out that C tier is going to be Maxime Lamal. So this is the guy, the big bad guy from the newest Despicable Me movie. He turns himself into like a cockroach, a giant cockroach. Now, that's pretty gross. Mostly the reason why he's down here in C tier. He's driven by ego and everything. His big reason for trying to get back at Gru is just because like he was embarrassed at his school because he got arrested there at his reunion. It isn't like any kind of world domination or anything. I'm sure like, he's got big things planned for this whole cockroach ray in the long run. But right now he's just all about stealing Gru's kid, which again is kind of messed up. I don't know, bringing family into all this. He also shoots the baby with the cockroach ray and turns the baby into like a weird cockroach monster. I don't know. I don't think I'm a fan of that. He's got some things that are working for him, though. He's got his, like, essentially a minion army of little cockroach guys, like indestructible. That's cool. But then he's also got his giant cockroach ship that he flies around as like a mech also. It's very cool. I'm definitely a fan of that. B tier is where we're going to find Dumo Sumo. He's just a big sumo guy. I think that's fun. Next, then we get to Vector. Now, if you're just ranking the villains, I'm sure for a lot of people, character-wise and everything, Vector is going to be high. He's a fan favorite. But working with this guy would be a nightmare. But, again, good tech. And that's saying something. He's very versatile. This guy can survive being stranded on the moon and even stranded on Mars. He ended up getting back to Earth somehow. In the short that happened before the movie Migration, right, we see him stranded on Mars at the end of it. But yet, at the end of Despicable Me 4, who's there in jail? Hey, it's Vector. He's not dead. So that's pretty cool. And as smart as the guy is, though, he's also like really stupid, which could be not great for us. But I don't know. I just think we could kind of hang a little bit. So I don't think I'd hate working with him. Though, again, this guy does steal a kid and try to kill him. So I don't know. We'll stick with it. B tier. Another guy that has tried to kill children, I'm going to have to kind of overlook that a little bit, is going to be Balthazar Brat. This guy's going to be playing jams, music-wise. Like, I've got no complaints when it comes to that. He's got cool technology, again, giant robot mechs, inflating bubblegum stuff, his army of little toys, the Brat Pack. So, I don't know, man, it's just a good vibe, I think. Like, this guy is got a long history with Gru, so he's like an established villain, and I really feel that too. So that's something I like about Despicable Me 3 is like, even though you don't see a ton of it, I really like how it feels like Gru and Brat have been going at it for forever. The guy's dedicated too. Like this guy, he's had this plan for a long time. He's making it happen. That's the kind of guy you want to be working with. Somebody who's not going to give up when things get a little difficult. And then finishing up the B tier is going to be Drew, Gru's brother. He's got a lot of technology and stuff at his disposal, which I could find very helpful. He's nice, though, right? And he's kind of goofy and he's inexperienced, which could get us killed. But I don't know. I just like how pleasant the guy is. Like if we're just going like nicest out of everything, he's be even higher. But his newness to everything is going to bring him down just a bit. Up in the A tier, first off, we got Valentina, which might seem odd, but I mean, she's the voice of reason, right? Maxime is all about like, the cockroach stuff and everything. She's like, man, it's gross. She's like, I'm not going to call you Cockroach Man. Like, that's not your name, and that's a stupid name. And so, I don't know, I just appreciate that she's no nonsense. And so I think she's going to help us get things done, and that's the kind of help we want on our supervillain team. Frankie Fishlips is showing up all over the place in this series, and I like that about the guy. He has been around for a while. He's seen a lot of crazy stuff. So I think that he's going to be able to definitely step in and help us accomplish our goals. Plus, he can breathe underwater. So, like, if that is a part of the plan, he's going to be able to take care of that in spades. Dr. Nefario is also going to be here in the A tier. This guy's smart. Doesn't hear very well, though, so I'm going to have to make sure and get things to him in writing, right? He makes a fart gun instead of a dart gun. So if we just give it to him in writing instead of telling him in person, then I think that we'll be able to be a lot more successful with that kind of thing. He'll stick with you for the long run, too. Like, he was with Gru for a very, very long time. But he's also got a little bit of heart, right? So, like, I feel like he isn't going to betray us, right? He had the opportunity to betray Gru and the girls when he was hired by El Macho, but he doesn't do it. He's like, man, it's a job, it's evil and stuff, but nobody messes with the girls. And I like that. Then finishing out the A tier is going to be Herb Overkill. This guy is just too much fun. I'm glad in the movie he doesn't betray his wife. That would have been a little too far, but like, he definitely loved the minions. He liked hanging out with them. And that is just a good time to see. And though he's, again, not very smart, he is a genius when it comes to designing these different tools. Like the mind control hat, that's enough to be able to let us get just about anything. And the stretchy suit, too. Man, this guy is out of control. Got to get Herb on the team. And then that brings us up to the S tier where we're going to find Wild Knuckles. Now, this guy gets betrayed by his team, so you know that he's like not going to be about that at all. He's going to stick with you till the end. He's also about kind of cultivating that next generation of evil and villainy, and I like that too. He's not too big to be like, it's got to end with me. He's got a heart, right? And I like that as well. It's cool to see him and Gru get along with each other. Plus, with his age comes experience, so he's going to have a lot to teach us as we're getting ready to pull off this heist. And even though he is older, right, we were limiting some of the different people based off of age earlier. Even though he's older, he's still fighting like those ancient like gold statues that are like protecting the medallion and everything, right? And so I think that he's going to be able to just really be a powerhouse and help us out. Gru's going to be next up on the list. He's got, again, a lot of things going with him. If we get Gru, we get the minions. In my opinion, that's ultimately a huge win. The minions are not on this list today because I think they deserve their own list. And hopefully at a future date, we will do a minions ranking. Subscribe if you want to see that when it happens. But when we take a look at Gru himself, again, this guy is trained in combat. He's super sneaky. He's an expert when it comes to like security systems. And this guy stole the moon, right? Let's not forget that. This guy stole the moon. Plus, he's super easy to manipulate into helping you out. Like, he's always getting tricked into having to help people. Like, he does his own evil stuff in the first one, but in the second one, it's like, oh, now you got to work with the anti-villain league. And then in the third one, it's like, oh, now you got to be a villain with your brother. And it's like, oh, wait, now you got to be a villain with Poppy. And it's just always stealing stuff. And it's just like, we could get this guy to work with us, no problem. And Drew and Poppy prove we don't even have to threaten his kids to do it. But then that brings us to our top spot, the number one, the top S tier, and that is going to be the Nelsons. I'm lumping them all together, but these are the people who give the minions a ride, like from New York to Florida in the movie Minions. I love them all. We got Walter, Madge, Walter Jr., Tina, and Binky. They're a family of bank robbers. They're heavily equipped with weapons, but they're also super friendly and nice. Like, they stop, pick up these hitchhikers, and then they're friendly and nice to them the rest of the time that they know them. They're like seeing the crowning and everything happen, and they're like, oh, those are the guys that we know them. Even when it puts them in a position where it's like they could be in trouble for doing it. Like, they're like, run, guys, you gotta get out of here. There's just something about like this whole family that's on board with being a villain together. It's like, it's like, okay, again, loyalty is going to be there, but they also seem really smart and like always professional. And, I'm all about that. And so then that's my list of the Despicable Me and Minions villains. Let me know again what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like ranking videos or just talking about movies or video games in general. We try to do that on the channel as much as we can. If you really want to support the channel, you can actually become a member of the channel now. I'm trying to work on different ways to make that really worthwhile, but right now just the support is awesome. It's just $1 a month, and I appreciate anybody who wants to support at that level. Thanks to Abel for being the first person to sign up to do that. So thanks so much for being here today. We'll see you next time. Until then, you take care.